More women are in leadership positions. We have about 20-something women who are presidents and prime ministers of countries.
And there are 204 nations.
It's from 194 nations.
Mm-hmm. Everyone has a story.
Absolutely.
Angelique, you have a story.
Yeah.
Dr. Ada, you have a story. And our viewers out there have a story.
Empty your story so that all that can learn and be able to strengthen their life to be real. And that's what we are doing.
Welcome to Keep It Real. I am your host, Dr. Keith Rolle. Something good is going to happen to you. Don't you touch that dial. We're in the Christmas season, so I want to wish everybody a Merry, Merry Christmas. And I want you to know, may this be your best Christmas ever. Seem like the year rolled along, and it seemed like only yesterday we were at January 1.
Yes.
Angelique,
Yes.
now you're not Sister Joy. She's not here on this episode, but she will be in on the future when
Absolutely.
Brian and you and myself and her will come on the Sunday right before Christmas,
Yes.
and we'll wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Well, you have not been on for a while. Welcome back to the
Thank you
set.
so much.
You're one of the co-hosts, so won't you greet the people? They've been missing you.
Thank you so much, and we do miss you. It's been an amazing year working with Dr. K and Sister Joy. It's been an absolute pleasure to bring informative information and share with you the insights from this show, the Keep It Real show. So
well,
thank
you
so
look
much.
all in your bright red, and
Yes.
we got a Nigerian as a guest,
Yes.
and that top shawl is from Nigeria.
Absolutely.
I
Which
tell you,
excites me.
Nigeria is the most fashionable nation, the most beautiful women, and also the songs, you name it. I'm married to a Nigerian, so that was a paid announcement.
Yes. You can definitely tell, but I'm absolutely excited about our special guest today.
And also, we want to congratulate you. You have been appointed as a peace ambassador through
Yes.
Walmart to the UN.
Right.
You'll be traveling with us up to the UN
Yes.
to get acclimated and just be indoctrinated to what goes on. And you'll get a nation which you'll serve as a peace ambassador. You went through the diplomatic and diplomacy training,
Yes.
and also the protocol and whatnot. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks to Ruth's sisters. I'm
Okay,
really excited about
and
that
we'll put up
process.
your contact information because there it is right there, Intuitive Global Consulting, and people can contact you.
Yes.
And we wanted you to co-host with Dr. Ada because you also are involved with women equality. Well, we want to thank our sponsor, none other than Reverend Professor Gerald Harrison. He was on in October, and he was December sponsorship. In fact, this is our last month that we will air every week. Starting in January, we will only do the live. We want to now introduce our guest, none other than Dr. Ada. I shortened her name. If she can put up her biographical information. Look at that African queen there. Pretty woman. Founder Rector Ruth Sisters International, in which she has made me one of the advisors. So we've been doing a lot together. She's a school proprietor for 300 kids in Nigeria. Also, she has many ministries there. In fact, I've spoken at the UN for one of her initiatives. She's executive director, Center for SDG Global and Gender Faith Education, and also educator. That's in her DNA. Consultant. She's an author. Just published a book. So let's welcome to Keep It Real none other than Dr. Ada. Dr. Ada.
Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you, Dr. Keepitreal, and I'm so pleased to be here. I greet the viewers who are there listening to us. I'm very excited to be at Keep It Real because life is all about keeping it real. But it seems in this present time, we no longer keep life real. Mm-hmm. So when Lady Joy told me about this initiative, when they started it, I feel so much glad. And ever since then, I've been there secret admirer, secret fan of this program. And it's been so much learning for people and also using life stories to know how to keep things real.
Everyone has a story.
Absolutely.
Angelique, you have a story.
Yeah.
Dr. Otter, you have a story.
Maybe.
And our viewers out there have a story. So today we're going to tell the story about gender equality. We'll put up our title here in a minute. And there it is, how to use your power voice. There are so many women that are disenfranchised. They don't get equal pay for equal work. There's abuse, there's violence, the whole gamut. And so you two are the experts to help women use their power voice. Well, Dr. Otter, we got a lot to discuss, so let's just jump right into it. Tell us where you hail from and how you migrated to the United States, and then we got some questions we want to ask you about what you do with the Root Sisters and segment. This is in 2 segments. Segment 1 will be her, what she's involved with, and then we'll talk about the gender equality in segment 2. So don't you go away. You stay tuned.
Thank you, Dr. Keepitreal. My name is, as you have just seen on the screen, Professor Ada Junior OKIKA. That is strong. Whatever you hear the name ADA, Ada, is a strong name from a big clan community in Igbo land in Nigeria. I hail from the southeast states of Nigeria, and I am from a family that believes in ideology, believes in values, believes in integrity, and also believes in service to humanity. And that's how we are born and brought up. And we were brought up to learn that service to humanity, service to God means a lot if you want to run the race to the kingdom. And that is why we are here. So I am from Anambra State, Nigeria, and I was opportuned to migrate to United States of America 22 years ago to look for greener pasture, for exposure, education, and to be more empowered and equipped for the world of work. And I'm happy that I've been able in these years to acclimatize myself with the global knowledge about humanity. And that has blended my life to keeping it real for the generation.
All right. So, she talks about some of the things that you do. You also do global consultancy. In your line of work, Angelique, what are some of the comments and some of the struggles or the challenges that women have?
I mean, I know that Dr. Otter, I'm really honored to have you here with us today, and I know that you're addressing a lot of the gender equality issues on the global scale, but of course, your transition here to the U.S., how has that comparison of the global agenda been addressed here in the U.S. with SMEs and women of color and minorities, as well as the LGBT community? How has that been effectively addressed here in the U.S.?
Well, you see, life is all about exposure and knowledge. You know, if you're in one place, you'll be myopic and static to learning about life or what it is. So coming here has sort of exposed me to a lot of things that I don't know and things I need to know. Because if you are not well equipped for life, you might not be able to keep your own life real. And that is what we are trying to do. So my coming to United States of America has given me the opportunity to meet different cultures, different people, their understanding about life and tradition and religious and cultural beliefs. So I believe that my life in America in the past 22 years has not been a waste, because it has sort of strengthened me, and I take it back to my people, because in my community, a lot of people don't have the opportunity to be globally exposed. But those of us who have the opportunity stand that chance to bring the knowledge back to them, and that is what we are doing.
And we really laud you for that. And so many times people come to the United States and they just want the American dream, a piece of the pie, and yet still they don't want to look back to where they came from. Then on the other hand, there are many people, they come here to work and they support their families, whatever they make. And I find that they don't live very lavishly. I know one time some Asians 15 of them live in an apartment so that they can help their other people. And everybody has a story. And you talked about your story. Angelique, you have a story. And Ruth's Sisters, you are rector for that. Tell us a little bit about that. And you recognize elderly women. In fact, I want to thank you publicly while you were here when my mom died. Before she died, you nominated her for the Naomi Award. And we thought we were going to lose her, and she sprung up. But you sent that plaque down to her. And then when she died, you flew down. You called me and said you were coming. And my family were indebted to you. The church was packed. And we gave you a standing ovation. So tell us about the Ruth Sisters, what all you do with that, and how others can join various chapters in other nations as well as here in the United States.
You know, one thing with life is, that's why I'm so excited about this program, Keeping It Real. You know, when I was a teenager, my late dad did tell me that one thing can make me strong in life, that if I can overcome my false self and be my real self, that I'll be able to position myself in the world of world to be what I want to become. So it continued along my life, that every time I want to be, I want to see myself working to overcome my false self. So starting Ruth's Sister is one of the God's calling in my life to overcome my false self. I wasn't interested in running a ministry or becoming a pastor, even though I grew up in a Christian family, and we've been so common. My late mother was the daughter of an Anglican priest. My dad, my grandfather from my dad's side was an Anglican evangelist who planted a lot of churches in our community. So everything about church came from me right from before I was conceived. But I never wanted to run a church or so. Even when I was in secondary school, I was making a chapel prefect. So, but this thing made me to try not to be more involved in church, but let me be a good Christian and then live by the import of the teachings of our Lord Jesus Christ on the Beatitudes. But along the line, the message of God came that you have to be more involved with Him. And that was how Ruth Sisters. In fact, the message came from a bishop in Nigeria that God sent her to me to tell me that I have to serve Him more than what I'm doing. And then that took me to now bring up the Ruth Sisters Fellowship. Why Ruth Sisters Fellowship? Because I look at the Ruth in the Bible, the life of Naomi and Ruth. One, sisters, women, we need to understand that once we step out from our seat or throne of royalty, we are bound to make mistakes. We are bound to keep our life messed up, and we are bound not to straighten our life in the line of realness. So, and then Naomi was a part of that, because they left the throne of royalty into the Moabites, got married, and she lost everything. As a daughter of Zion, as a covenant woman with God, she realized herself and tried to return back to. But because of that covenant that God had with her, you know, He still made way for her to still be the fulfillment of the race of Christian ministry of our Lord Jesus Christ. So that's what gave us. I see today a lot of women have stories, and I establish what I call the empty story. Empty your story so that all that can learn and be able to straighten their life to be real. And that's what we are doing.
Well, give us the vision very quick, and how many chapters you have, and how one can join a chapter here in the United States.
Actually, we've been advanced. We have in United States, we have youth ministry, we youth group. It's not a church. We don't run it. We run a fellowship. We're in Nigeria. We're in Kenya. We're in Ghana. We're in Uganda. We are in South Africa. We're in Bahamas. And then we're in Cameroon. And each of the, we're also in what is it called? Yes. Cameroon. Each of these chapters, what we do, we start up a particular area of need. Like in Kenya, we're advancing for good nutrition. Daniel's nutrition was, God spoke about as Christians, we need to eat right. So we are trying to use that ministry to educate people about good nutrition, you know. And then the Cameroon are also into the children, you know, taking care of the orphans, the needy, the less privileged. Even if we don't give them anything, we are praying for them. You know, we're also looking at widows. And there are a lot of women in the wilderness who are in the brothels in communities. They don't know how to make their lives real. And this is where we are coming in as Ruth sisters. Just as Ruth and Naomi helped each other, we are trying to be that Naomi that will help straighten their life path and make their living real.
Well, thank you very much for that. If we can put up her contact information, and you can contact her via various social media streams. There's her Facebook, there's her email, and you can go to the website. Just leave that up for a few moments, and then you can become a part of that. Angelique, I'm going to let you close out this session with your thoughts and any nuggets you want to give our listening audience.
I'm just really excited, Dr. K, that Dr. Ada has shared the purpose and the mission and vision of Ruth Sisters, having participated and been nominated for the Peace Ambassador Program with WOLMI through participating in the Ruth Sisters organization. It really gave me foundation. So the things that you've shared just here today about the real story and what women really have to come to the realization about with regard to the royalty, I think that the mission and vision of Ruth Sisters will really carry that gender equality opportunity forward with your role with the UN. So I'm so glad that you shared that. That really hit home for me.
Well, thank you very much. It's the end of segment 1. And Mahatma Gandhi said, "Be the change you wish to see in the world of your influences." With us for segment 1, where we learned about Dr. Ada and her coming to America, like Eddie Murphy, and also, what was his name? You remember him? That movie, Coming to America?
I do.
Okay. Okay. And so, Dr. Ada, we want to welcome you back. And boy, you just really gave us some a plethora of information about the Ruth Sisters. And you didn't talk about the awards that you give out to deserving women that fit that characterization of Ruth and Naomi. And then I was surprised one year you awarded my wife with the Ruth award, and then I got the Boaz award. I'm a Boaz.
Awesome.
So tell very quickly about that, and we're going to jump right into.
Actually, we have a lot to talk, and this is a studio. We've done a lot of things. But what we do, there are 3 awards we give in recognition of what people are doing in service to humanity. One is the Ruth panel, those who are able to share their story. As we said, one of our great value to Ruth Sisters is empty story. So those who are able to share their story, because we believe that when you share your story, it's a good resource for somebody's life to be straightened to the right path. And then we have the Boaz Award. When you look at the book of Ruth in the Bible, we have the 3 main characters are Ruth, Boaz, and Naomi. Boaz was a person that encouraged Ruth, supported Ruth to be what we are today.
Wow.
So we now look at men who are supportive to gender and encourage them with. And then Naomi, the Bible says, let the elder teach somebody. From the life of Ruth and Naomi was mentored Ruth favorably. So every woman who mentors receives that. And then just like the Dr. Keepitreal said about his mom, when I read her story, I said, this woman must not leave this earth without receiving the Nobel Award.
Well, we thank you very much. And you wrote this, and this is your quote: "Every human has one's own life story. My life has not been easy, and I have been frightened many times, but all failures in the past." So many people make failures, and they feel like they have to quit and throw in the towel. Their only motivations, this is what you says, and makes me brave and more determined. I choose to smile despite my pain, and I never let my problems break me down.
Exactly.
That's powerful.
Awesome.
My challenge made me stronger and better. Life, like the sun, I can bring to you warmth or burn you. It all depends on how you treat me. This is from yours truly, Dr. Ada.
Awesome.
Well, if you could put up our topic again, gender equality, and then you're going to go right into some questions you want to ask her, how to use your power voice. Our power voice and our story are very powerful, so I'm going to let you take the lead.
Thank you so much. And Dr. Ada, I'd like for you to first explain to our audience your role with the UN and how you've been involved with some of the ECOSOC initiatives around gender equality, as well as some of the other initiatives, the 17 EDG initiatives. How are you contributing to the efforts around those goals?
Thank you so much. And when I came in, actually my coming to the UN did not just come because I want to. As a teenager, when we were on holidays, my late father would want us to sit at the television to hear the national news. And there was one popular person that always come to the news. Every night, he was then the Secretary General of Commonwealth. And one day I was so disturbed that I have to ask my dad, is it only men that go to United Nations? And he said it's not only men, but if you are first in class, when you come first, which means you are excellent. Mm-hmm. So he gave me that assignment. So every time I go to, I'll be struggling to be excellent in the class because I had passion to be at the United Nations. So when I came to United States of America, and I found that actually I didn't come to New York, I came to Pennsylvania. And I said, no, UN is New York, now I have to go to New York. And that's how I came into New York. And I got into United. I was excited. In fact, the very first day I make a statement at the UN, stayed inside the conference room, and ambassadors, and were looking at me speak. Oh my God, I feel like cleaning a cow for myself that day. I was so excited, I was so happy, I was so fulfilled. So that gave me the privilege to be, and I thank God to the former ambassador of Nigeria that really encouraged me. She was a mother, and she knew me as a child, and encouraged, no, this is what you can get involved with the NGOs, get involved. So I started getting involved, started learning, and from there I became more knowledgeable. Mm-hmm. And I feel that, that knowledge I had, looking at my past, where I come from, and the knowledge they don't have, I said, no, let me get into consulting services for the non-profit.
And you're doing that. You wear many hats, and therefore I'm going to let you continue, Angelique. But what she's talking about, the UN has 17 strategic developmental goals, and number 5 is about the gender equality.
Yes.
And you had a follow-up question you wanted to ask her.
Absolutely. They're talking about the gender equality being accomplished by 2030, and we're so far from reaching that goal. What are some of the contributions around EDG 5 that you believe you're able to make on the committees and councils to move that agenda forward for gender equality?
Yes, before I take to that question, I want us to take our mind back to year 2000 when it was Millennium Development Goals. Mm-hmm. And also to 1995, the World Beijing World Women Conference. And then that conference sort of restructured the issue about, in fact, planted the seed of gender equality. But what happens today is that the word gender equality has been misconstrued. Mm-hmm. We are looking at it as women want to overshadow men, and not. But that wasn't the import. If you take your mind back before 1995, how has the life of women been across the world? Mm-hmm. There are some communities that women are just made to be seen and not heard. There are some who are just domesticated staff. But when we look at it, we're advancing. The world was advancing, and there was need for talk about development goals, sustainability, and then continuity, right? So that led to the Millennium Development Goals, which had 8 goals, and then that one took us from 2000 to 2015. Now by 2015, they felt that Millennium Development Goal couldn't give all that was needed, and then come into what came up with Sustainable Development Goals. Awesome. But from the Beijing Conference of 1995, the concerns for women had been a burdensome to a leader, to presidents, to nations. And then that was why they talk about equalizing the gender. Gender is not just women, it's about men and women. It's about us, including those that we are fixed of lately. It's all about everybody, gender. So, but the fact remains that looking down on women, even when you go to school, there's some family that, like my family, believe that every girl should go to school. And then when you come out, you're only giving that kind of subservient level, but that doesn't mean that that man is more intelligent than you.
In fact, some of the girls in schools are the most smartest.
Good.
And whatnot. And there was a nursery rhyme that says frogs and snails and puppy dog tails, that what boys are made of, but sugar and spice and everything nice. That's what women are made of. How can the women, you talk about the gender equality, and 2030 is only 5 years away, and what advancement has been made in the area of SDG 5? And then let me just say this about a power voice. Real impact comes not just from being the loudest. So many times women think they got to be loud, but they don't have to be loud. You can use your power voice. It comes from our refusal to be silent. And this from Style Magazine right here in Houston. So give us the achievements very quickly, and I think Angelique has another question.
Yes, the achievements have been so much laudable because if you look at across the world, more women are in leadership positions. We have about 20-something women who are presidents and prime ministers of countries.
And there are 204 nations.
From 194 nations.
Mm-hmm.
So these are coming up. And a lot of agencies and establishments are headed by women. Some subcommittee, financial sector, education, secondary, women are now on the top. So that has been achieved. Countries, member states of the United Nations have given women more position in government, in leadership, and decision-making strategies. So these are certain models that things has to be strengthened for people to really think about sustainability. So a lot of them done that have been so much successes. Thank God to the United Nations and the UN Women who are standing the cause of making women life reposition globally.
In fact, every March you have a big program, and the UN give you a platform for that women equality. Talk about that very quickly, and Angelique will ask you the other question.
Every March the UN has this Commission on Status of Women, and the issue is to bring out a discussion. It's like a pilgrimage on women issues, where every ministry, every country, civil societies, faith-based organizations, they all troop into United Nations to hear different words, presentation, lessons. It's an educative and informative section.
Do you have the date for the one in March?
The one for 2025 will start from March the 10th to March the 22nd.
Okay.
And in this section we have so many issues, and at the end, most important thing is that at the end of the 22 there must be an agreed conclusion on the same topic. Like the next year coming, we are going to look at the 30 years of Beijing Women Conference. And at the end of year, conclusion agreed that will be agreed by the member states, and that becomes a work document for member states, civil societies, faith-based organizations, women, gender advocates, and everyone who is interested in advancing the cause of women.
All right, Angelique, I'll give you one more question.
I definitely appreciate the sharing of the accomplishments and the recognition of 30% of women being able to enter into parliaments globally in various countries. What are some of the additional initiatives being taken to address the systemic issue of children still having to be married at a very young age, or women, young girls being put into marriages at a very young age, and women having equal opportunities truly in the workplace? The UN predicts it will take over 140 years for that to truly be one of the things that is run equally across the board. How are we addressing youth marriage and among young girls, as well as women in the workplace, pushing that agenda forward?
Yes, you see, at the UN, when the issue about women came up, that early marriage was a problem.
Yes.
And then the Department of United Nations Population and Development took it up. So they went into communities, like in all the nations, they have their offices, and they look at families that stop their children their girls from going to school. Now, some of them have reasons. One is financial problem. and they do take up those girls and put them in school. We have testimonies which they have in April. They have their event, Commission on Public and Development, every April at the UN. So they all come up to support. So that period was really a moment where issue about early marriage, sexual abuse, and all the rest come up there, and we were able to track that. So one of the things UN wants to bring the policy and also to create awareness opportunities, for the policy to be implemented. And some of these things have been continued. Even up till now, there are some non-profit organizations which I consult. Their focus is on correcting the girl child. And also, the UN every October 11 has the UN Day for the Girl Child, where concerns on the girl child also being discussed.
All right. Well, Thurgood Marshall, who was a Supreme Court justice, says, where you see wrong or inequality or injustice, speak out, because this is your country, this is your democracy. Make it, protect it, and pass it on. Well, Dr. Otta, Angelique want to give you a gift for being a guest on Keep It Real. That's a little something for you, and we thank you for being a guest. Let's put up her contact information. Contact information for Dr. Otta, and there it is, her Facebook, her email, and you can go to her website, contact her so you can be sure to track to the UN. We'll be up there come March, and then I go every February. Hopefully you'll have a speaking position for me. Give us 3 words of how a woman can use her powerful voice. Look at that camera and let them know. 3 words, and you be ready to give your...
Well, be what you are. Be creative in your thinking, and then give back to the community. That's how you can use your power voice. You don't need to keep yourself in there. And when you do that, people will begin to understand the potentials you have and your contribution to them, and that becomes their legacy.
All right, Angelique.
And my contribution to our audience is exactly what Dr. Otta said, overcoming your false self to your real self, and really getting to the point of recognizing your calling. So I really appreciate that.
All right, if you can put up Angelique's information so they can contact you. She is a lawyer, now a peace ambassador, and I'm so glad I had a role in helping you get connected with Dr. Otta, and you can contact her. I'll keep it real, and then that's going to conclude this, and we want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas after they show our Keep It Real sign very quickly. Keep it real. There it is, our contact information. Psalm 46:5 says, God is within her, and she will not fail. And the secret of success, we've been talking about women equality. This comes from Madam C.J. Walker, who was the first billionaire, black woman. Do not sit down and wait for opportunities to come to you. You go, girl, and you just go to the head of the class. All right. And then this is from our 44th First Lady, Michelle Obama. Boy, she should be president one day, but she doesn't want to be. She says, for me, becoming isn't about arriving somewhere or achieving a certain aim. I see it as a forward motion. And we've been talking about that, about the women equality, a means of evolving, a way to reach continuously toward a better self, and the journey does not end. On the count of 3, let's just wish everyone a Merry Christmas during this Yuletide season. Merry Christmas,
Merry Christmas.
And Happy Holidays to all.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Keep it real.